wealth, power, fame. It's all in the titles, really. Like Marines, if you're an admiral, you automatically have a certain level of fear and respect automatically attached to your name. For pirates, though, if you're a warlord or a Yonko, watch out for that, man. In today's video, we're going to be ranking and explaining every warlord. Just so we're clear, the ranking is not a power contest. It's not a power contest. This is based off their usefulness or efficiency as a warlord. Side note, anyone who has ascended to a different title or lost their role of warlord will only be measured based off of what they did as a warlord. Lock in, people, lock in. And while there are only 7 warlords at any given time, in total, we've seen 12 in the entire series. So let's begin. So we're ranking all the warlords starting at the bottom. Well, former warlords, since warlords aren't a thing anymore. Government happens, cutbacks. Coming in at 12th place, we have a name a lot of y'all probably don't know. Hanafuda. Hanafuda. Yeah, you probably didn't know it. You probably had to Google it. Guess what? I had to do the same thing. Like, I heard of Boa before, but I had no idea that he was even a warlord. Now, Hanafuda is best known for 2 things. One of those things is collecting ancient zone devil fruits. It's pretty dope. It's a great hobby, honestly. Top tier. The second thing he's known for is losing the ace. Your whole legacy is collecting ancient devil fruits and then losing to somebody. You hate to see it. Now, there is some respect to be had on his name, though, because he did originally form an alliance with Kaido, which is no small feat. And obviously, he was infamous and powerful enough to be invited into the warlord system. So, give him something. Here's the thing. After his defeat, he tried to make it back home to his kids, but was caught lacking by some other pirates, and daddy never made it home. That milk spoiled. But who are the kids that he wanted to make it home to? None other than Ulti and Page 1. And it's to be assumed that they devoured the devil fruits that he originally captured. So in some way, shape, or form, he passed down some of his workings, his heritage, to his children. And we respect that as a father. But as a warlord, you literally did nothing besides get a cutout in the manga panel. We know nothing about you. Shout out to Oda and SBS. Hanafuda, we have nothing for you as a warlord, so we put you down at the bottom of the list. For number 11, we have Queen's son. Zoom in, 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 zoom in. Or is it Whitebeard's son? Did y'all even know that Whitebeard had a son and by a former Rocks pirate? Well, neither did he. Coming in at 11th place, we have Weevil. Edward Weevil, to be precise. Now, I know the resemblance between the two of them is uncanny, but personally, I don't think he's Whitebeard Jr. You see, Weevil made a name for himself after his mother, Buckingham Stussy, not that Stussy, manipulated him into going after his inheritance, his father's fortune. Now, we know Whitebeard got a lot of kids, but nah, we need Mari for that. That's not valid. Look at him. Now, to his credit, though, to be fair, Weevil did demolish 16 other crews of pirates that were loyal to Whitebeard. So the man got some power behind him. And by power, I mean that. Like, Bull is a little powerhouse. Not little, though. 20-something feet tall, observation hockey, armament hockey, and he wields the same Naginata as his father. We not gonna let you sully Whitebeard's name, bro. As a warlord, though, he didn't really listen. He didn't really follow orders, and at one point he caused over 600 civilian casualties. So the Marines weren't a big fan of Weevil, for real. So guess what? Everyone's favorite cleanup admiral popped up. We're talking about Green Bull. Green Bull came, he saw, he left with Bull. Green Bull really always know where to be at when people are fatigued. I don't know, he got tired senses or something. To be a warlord, power isn't everything. It's very influential, but it isn't everything, which is why we're putting Shanks' second favorite pirate in 10th place. Now, I know some of you might not agree with the placement when I mentioned the other 9, but Buggy is the only person who schemed and lied his way onto this list in the first place. His lies and charisma allowed him to make claims to the chaos that Luffy created at Impel Down. And his accidental actions at Marineford propelled his story to crazy heights. And this allowed him to amass a following. If Buggy was on TikTok right now, I'm trying to tell you, Bull would be dumb famous. Buggy, if you're seeing this, at me, Isekai King. But like we said, Buggy didn't really do much. He just spoke well. He's like King from One Punch Man. If you know, you know. Him being a member of the Rogers Pirates, plus the Summit War attracted enough attention for the world government to reach out to him. And then, Buggy's promotion, wham! Buggy became a warlord during the time skip. But because he became a warlord during the time skip, we have almost no visibility into exactly what he did as a warlord. Now, this doesn't make him a bad pirate. An opportunist? Absolutely. Not a bad pirate. But because we can't say what he did or didn't do as a warlord, sorry, Buggy, but you gotta go down to 10th place. You still got a special place in my heart, though. Coming in at 9th place, we have the Straw Hat's very own, the son of the sea, Jinbe. Jinbe got hands too, for real. Like, if it was a power ranking, Jinbe would definitely be up higher. But this is effectiveness as a warlord. You see, after Arlong was captured, Jinbe accepted his role as a warlord solely so he can get Arlong free and then put hands on him. And I mean that. He was over here like, fight back. Hands and feet. And other fishman karate things. And as running into a trend right here, technically we don't know exactly how much Jinbe did as a warlord. What we do know is he's the only member of the 7 warlords at that time who did not accept a summon to go try to jump Whitebeard. He was like, nah, I'm cool with OG, for real. He down with the fish people and the merfolk, for real. I ain't gonna do nothing to him like that. The government was like, oh yeah? Hang tight, buddy. We got you. Wham. Next thing you know, Jinbe sitting in the same cell as Ace. I respect the loyalty, man. As far as power goes, as we stated, Jinbe is top tier. He fought a Logia user for 5 days straight. 5. To a standstill. No devil fruit, just hockey and fishman karate. He was like, let's go. He wasn't like that because Jinbe's more stoic and whatnot, but you get what I'm saying though. His hands, lethal. Man, his hands tanked a magma hit. That wasn't a magma hit, but you get what I'm talking about. And then when Akainu pierced his body and hit Luffy, his first words was, yo, my fault, Luffy. I don't know how that got through. I'm sorry. Sir, you just got impaled. Are you worried about Boa? Like, man, master of fishman karate, great communicator, great person, unknown warlord. Jinbe, we keep you comfortably at 9th place. Switching things up a little bit, let's talk about somebody we know a little bit about. Not really. Coming in at 8th place, we have Gekkamora, nobody's favorite. You see, the world government was already looking for a reason to get rid of Bull. Like, they did not bang with him at all. You can't fill the void until you create the void. And he kind of controls the void with his shadow powers. All Gekkamora did for real was chill on his island, throw a bark, just over there dwelling in darkness. Warlords are supposed to be intimidating tools for the world government to use to sick on smaller pirates and to keep them humble. Sit down. Be humble. Warlords are an active showing of the government's strength. And once upon a time, Gekkamora was actually pretty noteworthy. That is, until he ran into Kaido. Kaido really out here changing the trajectory of several pirates. Passively. When I say the government didn't really rock with him, I mean he just didn't really follow orders. Like, not like Weevil, but he did underhanded things along with it. I mean, he used to abduct civilians and Marines to make zombies to empower himself. It's not exactly a solid pat on the back worthy. As far as power, his shadow fruit allowed him to recreate the army that he lost to the Dragon Yonko himself. Yeah, Kaido severely destroyed his whole pirate fleet. Different breed. But his devil fruit also allows him to control and manipulate the shadows of living creatures, including his own. Manipulating his own shadow allows him to grow in size and increase his strength, or he's even able to create a shadow doppelganger that can kind of, function around like a Logia, or he can freely swap places with the two anytime he wants. So honestly, the power is pretty severe. Also, if he takes your shadow, you become unconscious and you can't go in the sun no more. You ever seen Sinners? Here's the thing, right? He was still defeated by a pre-time skip Luffy, and he had his status revoked due to his failures at Thriller Bark, in addition to the strength that he failed to show during the Summit War. He was then packed up by Jinbe at the Summit War. One hit, mind you. I told you, Jinbe got hands. And then he got put on Doflamingo's hunting list. So, yeah, 8th place. At 7th place, we have almost cracked the halfway point. Let's go. If you're here now, you might as well like and subscribe. But the halfway point is where Boa Hancock resides. Boa Hancock is the Empress of Amazon Lily, as well as the captain of the Kuja Pirates. She leads a tribe of elite female warriors who can even infuse hockey into their arrows and stuff, which is solid. That's tough. Not to be shown out, her own mastery over hockey, her combat prowess, and the abilities granted by her devil fruit make her an extreme threat. Blunt and simple. A threat to everybody. A threat to the world government. A threat to Blackbeard. A threat to men with eyes. Shout out to Fujitora. But yeah, she's a problem. If you find Boa Hancock attractive in any way, shape, or form, she gonna hit you with that love, hit you with that, I can't see that. Hit you with that, And guess what? You hard. You looking? You hard. Just like that. You see, her power allows her to petrify anyone who has any lustful intent or finds her attractive. This is gender neutral, so no matter what you packing, you can get packed up, statuesque. And even if you don't find her attractive, weirdo, you can still get petrified through physical attacks. So either way, you gonna be turned to stone. Medusa will throw hands with you, and it is what it is. As a warlord, Amazon Lily was enough to deter certain movement from traveling around her area. Her power alone expanded around her initial domain, which prevented a lot of pirates from passing through. That's the only thing we know about her actions. Also, at the Summit War, while yes, she was infatuated with our rubber boy Luffy, she still somehow did her part, so that way the Marines couldn't really tell whose side she was on for real, for real. She did enough of her job to get paid and not lose it. Like, she did whatever the bare minimum is while still hooking your friend up. It's like, all right, you kind of pushing it, but you my man, so I got you. And for that, we always appreciate Boa Hancock. But because she kind of barely did her job, 7th place. But listen, 7 out of 12 isn't bad, but it's not 6. Because coming in at 6th place, I need y'all to remember what we described earlier, okay? This is not a power contest. Please, do not come for me. This is not a power contest. 6th place, we have Blackbeard. Let's hear it. Boo, boo, boo. Like I said, this is a warlord contest, okay? Warlord ranking. How good were you as a warlord? Blackbeard attained his warlord ranking by turning in Ace. Very impressive feat. They jumped him, but this is a pirate world. We not handing fair ones. You ever seen JJK? We not fighting fair. And as soon as he did that, he then betrayed the world government, like, immediately. Like, from the moment he captured Ace up until Ace's death was the statue of him being a warlord. Don't seem that long now, does it? That's because it's not. If it wasn't for the feat that put him in the warlord, he would have been lower ranked. But capturing a Logia user is no small feat, especially because it was Fire Fist aced. So we give him credit for that. But Blackbeard's whole dynamic is kind of deceit and betrayal, power and problems. They all go hand in hand with him. Here's the thing. He also went directly against the interests of the world government by freeing so many of these notorious criminals from Impel Down. These people still with his crew, so I guess loyalty is important. However, he couldn't have done any of that without his initial betrayal, which enabled him to get the Yami Yami no Mi. You see, his devil fruit isn't a traditional Logia type. Rather than becoming intangible and having abilities pass through you, he absorbs them directly into his body. I'm gonna say body because we know Blackbeard is interesting. Now, he's also able to create and control darkness, which has an immense gravitational pull. Like, get over here. He literally did that to Ace, and that was pretty cool. This allows him to absorb objects into the void, and he himself is also a void. You see, any object he stores in can then be released at a later time to ambush or overwhelm people. And I mean like anything. If he were to, I don't know, swallow up a house, pause, he could then regurgitate it and throw it at you. Like you over there throwing fireballs. Here's a bank. Here's a statue. Here's a ship. Like, bull gossip. He literally could always have us on him and you wouldn't even know. But because his tenure as a warlord was so short-lived and he didn't really do anything with his title other than use it to pull up to Impel Down, we can't place Blackbeard any higher than 6th place as a warlord. Thank you. At 5th place, we are now getting into the real warlords, okay? Understand, a warlord's job is to show strength, show power, and to pay tithes to the government, and to keep other pirates smaller. It's to check the small guys to make sure they never ascend past you. That's your whole goal. Obviously, this guy failed because he's in 5th place. But let's talk about the businessman himself, Crocodile. You see, Crocodile founded and led Baroque Works. What's Baroque Works? Watch the anime. But Baroque Works is a covert criminal syndicate operating under the guise of a legitimate organization. Shady business. That's what Baroque Works is. You see, Crocodile's ability to maintain a secret identity, Mr. Zero, while orchestrating complex schemes, showcased his exceptional intelligence and strategic planning. In Alabasta, Crocodile manipulated the kingdom into a civil war by framing the royal family. Chaos obviously ensued. His ultimate goal was to seize the ancient weapon, Pluton, which was supposed to be hidden in the kingdom. I did a video on that. Watch it. Now, because Alabasta is in a sandy area, oh snaps, Crocodile ate the sand fruit. He's a sandman. Mr. Sandman. Thank you. As a Sandman, he can dehydrate anyone or anything around him just using his powers. Like, he could literally just dry you up faster than... He can also control, create, and manipulate sand. You see, the power to summon sandstorms and bury all evidence of everything you've done allows you to get away with a lot of things. You know where all the bodies were buried because you put them there and then you buried them in the sands of time. This power allowed him to hide what he was doing from the government and the people and allowed him to handle business efficiently. As a warlord, his strategic genius and ability to manipulate events to his advantage were undeniable. Yet his overconfidence was eventually his undoing. Despite his eventual defeat by Luffy, Crocodile's legacy as a cunning and ambitious pirate endures, and the name of Crocodile definitely struck fear around everyone around him. So as a warlord, Crocodile was terrifying. And if it wasn't for his crimes in Alabasta coming to the forefront, he probably would have retained his position. So as a warlord, was he efficient? Yes. But because his ulterior motives didn't align with the government's interests, and obviously what you do in the past comes to the present, he got buried. So Crocodile rests at 5th place. Not a bad spot. You know what's a solid spot though? Bowl. You see, at the 4th place, we have Law. Trafalgar D. Waterlaw became a warlord during the time skip, right? After the Rocky Port incident. Law pulled up with 100 hearts. 100 hearts. Law pulled up with 100 hearts. Cash in hand, showing the government that he could eliminate 100 pirate captains right there, just like that. What's up? The government, instead of being, I don't know, freaked out by a bull pulling up with 100 hearts, maybe, I don't know, Law wouldn't have made it out of there. He had 100 hearts. I would have did something. They were like, we are impressed with your fortitude. You shall now be granted the title of Warlord. Please do not smush these 100 hearts. And the Law was like, Rua. And then he got out of there in the Law fashion. I don't know. But here's the thing, right? The ability to pull up with 100 hearts is only due to his devil fruit and his medical expertise. The Ope Ope no Mi, right, combined that with Law's medical expertise, gave him the epithet of Surgeon of Death. Dope name. That is a dope name. Now, with his power, he's able to freely amputate and manipulate anything within a designated area known as a room or a room, whatever. This lets him teleport himself or other things around to control the terrain. In addition to this, he can create a silent area or a massive gamma knife designed to destroy the target internally, so that way you're not regenerating. He has a lot of ways to ensure that each surgery is a success. Unless you're fighting Blackbeard. Law's whole goal was to infiltrate Punk Hazard so he could sabotage the smiles. He wanted to destroy the factory that was producing these artificial smiles, right? Because these fruits were being supplied to Kaido, one of the 4 emperors, by none other than Doflamingo. You see, by disrupting this operation, Law intended to weaken both Kaido and Doflamingo's influence. However, you know, upon forming an alliance with Monkey D. Luffy, Law's plans expanded altogether. And after they confronted, you know, Doflamingo and Dressrosa, that violated the Warlords' whole, you know, don't help any pirates unless they're a warlord kind of, you know, arrangement they had. So, you know, Admiral Fujitora revoked Law's warlord status. But honestly, I get it. So as a warlord, he effectively curbed 100 pirate captains from making it any further. In addition, trying to bring down some of the smiles, which were negatively impacting a lot of other people. So as a warlord, I gotta say, even if there was a brief stint, he was effective. Top 4. As cool as the Law is, you know who's above the Law? Number 3, Doflamingo. The man was a pure menace. Unlike the other warlords who were recommended for a position, Doflamingo blackmailed the world government into giving him his spot. He took that warlord title and ran back to Dressrosa, his ancestral kingdom. I mean, since technically he did come from royalty. Separate video on that dropping next week. Leveraging his newfound status, Doflamingo returned to Dressrosa, manipulated the king into agreeing to a ransom of 10 billion berries. What type of 360 deal did you pull on this king? I don't know. But Anyway, he did all that as like a pretext to like stage a coup, and by controlling the king and his soldiers through his devil fruit abilities, he orchestrated a massacre. He turned the populace against the royal kingdom and subsequently presented himself as the savior of Dressrosa. You know, it's easy to, clean a problem up once you create the problem. It's nice. Now, he was able to control Dressrosa and pull some strings, partially due to his devil fruit, the string fruit. You see, the string doesn't sound too powerful until you realize just how Doflamingo uses it. Like, he's able to almost fly by attaching to clouds and just, flipping. He's not flipping, but it seemed like he's kind of running on air. Watch the clip. He can also create a copy of himself made of strings, and since his strings are pretty much unbreakable. Did I mention the strings are unbreakable? Where was this at when I broke my yo-yo a while ago? He can use his strings as weapons to fashion, like, a guillotine if you want to choke somebody, amongst a whole bunch of other things. And he literally put a bird cage around his island. As a warlord, Doflamingo expanded his influence by engaging in illicit affairs such as arms dealing and the production of smiles. His operations were conducted under the guise of legitimacy, with the world government turning a complete blind eye to everything that he did. This allowed him to establish a vast criminal empire, supplying weapons to various factions, including Kaido's forces. And despite his strategic positioning, Doflamingo's reign was short-lived. His involvement in the human auctioning house and other illegal activities eventually led to his downfall. And after being defeated by Luffy and Law, his status as a warlord was revoked and he was imprisoned until impelled down. So, as a warlord, he definitely stopped a lot of people. Y'all didn't even hear about Dressrosa until you got to Dressrosa. No one knew of all the atrocities that were being committed. And Doflamingo pulled up, ready to hit some stuff. We saw Gekkamora was already on his hit list. Doflamingo was definitely a menace, and he was a dog of the military. Kinda, sorta. He was more just the menace of Marie-Joie. Third place. At second place, I have a feeling you guys probably know where this is going. And if not, you'll know your warlords. But that's okay. So I'm here for it. At second place, we have none other than Mihawk. Alright. Mihawk is a walking legend. And every single time he's pulled up, some stuff went down. His title alone, the world's greatest swordsman, is enough to calm most crews. While Mihawk isn't the most active participant when it comes to world government activities, the fact that the world government can simply mention his name to quell a threat just shows how efficient you are. Like, y'all keep playing, I'm gonna say Mihawk. And they're like, oh, y'all, it wasn't even that deep. It was just playing, man. Get out of here before Mihawk comes over here. Gosh. Bull really had pull for real. A non-problematic dude. He never sought out no pointless duels, but he's also currently undefeated in the series. We're not counting any of those off-screen ties between him and Shanks because we ain't see it. No devil fruit, just a big blade and a dream. He also has a smaller blade around his neck, probably for smaller dreams, but I don't know. You see, the black blade that he carries, Yoru, is one of the 12 supreme raised swords in the entire series. And Draco Mihawk's role as a warlord of the sea was marked by his exceptional combat abilities, strategic neutrality, and a solitary lifestyle. If you didn't bother him, he didn't bother you. I respect that. And his pragmatic approach to power and independence allowed him to navigate the complexities of the world without becoming entangled in his conflicts. As the world continues to change, Mihawk's adaptability and strength ensure his continued prominence in the One Piece universe. Man has very little screen time, is still getting talked about to this day. His name in every room is enough to quiet it. And for that, we will always have respect for him as a warlord. If it wasn't for the system being abolished, y'all know he'd still be a member. But because it no longer exists, you, sir, are locked in at second place. We all know the top warlord. Once you saw the video, you knew who the number one was. But let's talk about it. Unquestionably, at the number one spot, who was the most efficient warlord? It's Kuma. He does everything the world government asks of him. If you know, you know. I ain't spoiling for everybody. While his actions often appear to align with the government's interests, a deeper examination reveals his underlying motives and the efficiency of his role. See, Kuma's appointment as a warlord was a calculated move by the world government, recognizing his formidable abilities and his potential for control, primarily due to his paw fruit. See, the paw fruit gave us some of the most memorable early experiences in all of One Piece. Him versus Zoro, I mean, nothing happened there, but that was cool. him sending them all flying at Sabori, he was like, yeah. Tell me where you like to go. I want to go to, it doesn't matter where you want to go. Get him out of here. Anyway, the pawpaw fruit is a paramecia type that allows users to repel anything they touch. And I mean like objects, attacks, and even intangible elements like pain and memories. Imagine getting mad at Kuma and he knock out your graduation history. Like, you don't even know that you graduated no more, bull. Imagine him knock your name out, just, who are you? Like, Kuma could do some things. Even at Thriller Bark, right? He pulled up to help another warlord, Gekkamora, that's why he's down the bottom of the list. But we saw what happened when he pulled up. Straight smoke. That's how you be a warlord. He pulled up, everybody was shook. They're like, we just fought a warlord. What do we do to that guy? You do nothing. You pray. You pray. All right. Not to mention the pacifistas are literally modeled after him. We saw just how devastating the pacifista were at Sabori when the whole worst generation got wrecked by pacifista and Kuma. Kizaru was there too, but we saw the threat that really was Kuma. The name Kuma the Tyrant was enough to scare away most pirates. He is a force to be reckoned with and the government's ultimate answer to crews that didn't make it to the Grand Line. He was the checkpoint, the final foothold, if you will. Now, that made him a great warlord. And honestly, the warlord system itself was useful for several reasons, but it was also not really productive for several reasons. Some of the pros of the warlord system include having control over notorious pirates. You see, by offering amnesty and privileges, the world government could harness the strength of formidable pirates, turning potential threats into assets. You know, having your enemies closer lets you get a jump on them kind of situation. It was also a deterrence for the rookie pirates. Like we said, the presence of these powerful warlords acted as a deterrent for inexperienced pirates, discouraging them from entering the Grand Line and challenging established powers. For real, if you can't hold your own against a warlord, you definitely don't want to go overseas. Real quick, how many versions of hockey do you have? And if it's not enough, you should go back over there. Go to the East Blue, my guy. It's safer. And lastly, having them for strategic deployment. In times of conflict, like the Summit War, it's nice to be able to just bolster your efforts by saying, oh no, we got these people, but hold up. Hey, yo, Mihawk, tell them they're playing too much. Yo, get Kuma, tell them they're playing too much. I need to put some pause on somebody. It's nice having that power. And it's obviously a kind of crazy feat. Having this much power at your beck and call is kind of nice, and I can see why the Marines did it. But it doesn't always go that way. You see, several warlords abused their power. You know, they exploited their positions for personal gains, like Crocodile went to seize Alabasta, Doflamingo manipulated Dressrosa, and a whole bunch of other hullabaloo. In addition to that, warlords are kind of unreliable. They have their own agenda. Gekkamora is over there chilling more times than not. And they often just act on their own impulses to win. That's why they're pirates. Like, Blackbeard's betrayal and Law's ulterior motives completely underscore the inherent instability of relying on such alliances. AKA, you can't trust these people. And honestly, if you have a warlord at your beck and call, but people know that warlord did, it makes the government align with these bad people. The warlord system was a pragmatic, albeit controversial approach by the world government to manage piracy. And while it provided some short-term benefits, the long-term consequences of empowering unpredictable individuals led to its eventual abolition. The system's legacy serves as a cautionary tale about the complexities of balancing power and controlling a world rife with ambition and betrayal. But there's still pirates who sit above this, the Four Emperors. And we'll be covering them in the upcoming weeks as well. If you made it this far, first off, wow, this is a long video. I appreciate that. It means a lot. It means you're rocking with the crew. And if you're rocking with the crew, you might as well join the fleet by subscribing to the channel, liking this, sharing it with a friend. But I want to know, who is your favorite warlord out of all of them? And a little teaser, who's your favorite Yonko? I have my ideas. Once again, thank you all for watching. I couldn't have made it this far without you. Thank you.